Thank you to all of you who have shared some questions here. Abigail submitted a question for the panel. Has the government helped or provided grants to support your initiative or your business? Let's begin with Marie.
Yeah, so actually we did not receive grants from the government, but we will apply to some initiative soon, because there is a lot of here a lot of politics on providing support for entrepreneurs actually. So maybe we will have this opportunity soon. But actually, no, we did not receive any grants from the government. But we won a lot of competition and received grant from other countries. So I was in the US for a program, and after we received grants for our work. And we also received some prize from different competition, but locally we did not receive yet a grant or a support from the government.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the same question. I'm going to ask Eyram the same question.
What was the question again?
So have you received any funding from the government or from any other organizations?
Okay, yes, we've not received any funding from the government, but we have received from the Ghana Climate Innovation Center. So that was an incubator program that was run in 2019. Yeah.
And to Troy and Christian.
Well, it depends on what you consider the government.
Yeah.
But we did get money from the United Nations. So they're kind of a government organization, sort of. And that's quite complicated because United Nations Development Program is broken up into countries or locations, regional offices. So we talk with the regional or the country manager of Tanzania. And it was interesting. It even gets more complex than that. It's not like he wanted to buy our tech, so he did. Basically, he used our technology and our business model to apply for funding from UNDP New York, because UNDP New York was the one that had the money, and then they approved us. So it's weird that for them to create a grant, they actually have to know about you before they even create the grant, because something like us didn't exist before. So that's why people always say, oh, you have to know people before you apply to the grant. Well, no, it's actually you have to convince them to make a grant that applies to your technology before you even. So yeah, it's complicated and a long process. But as long as you're consistent and consistently delivering, then it's possible. US aid is technically government too. Christian was talking about the clinics that we did for them. There were 6 clinics, and I think there's another project in Uganda. Christian, do you know anything about that?
We have also let's say applied for another grant that is supposed to be helping us electrify other 6 health clinics in Uganda. And as Troy mentioned, this could be taken as also government support, because this is a US government. This is through the US government, and it passed through Power Africa, which is an initiative started by Barack Obama when he was still in the office, to make sure that Africa reaches to this full energy access. And maybe another, what I could add on is that we've seen so many interests from the government officials, government institutions. For example, on this project that I talked about chilling milk, we have a challenge to prove that this project can work and can support farmers. And then if the pilot project succeeds, we will be able to get grants or support that will, let's say, that will support 100 milk collection points in Rwanda. So this is something that the government of Rwanda is willing to invest in a lot of money. So this, we're looking forward to work with anyone, let's say, to work with anyone to make sure that this pilot succeeds. Yeah, so this is one of the also government engagement that I would mention.
Great, thank you. We have another question for Christian. Does cost of renewable play into the finance of these projects? i.e. how bankable is renewable to support these projects, and what are the paybacks?
Yeah, I think this has been one of the main challenge with people who have been, let's say, interested in our boxes. And our main challenge is to make sure that we establish a business model around these off-grid boxes were installed, and to make sure that they present a profitable scheme where anyone will be able to invest in an off-grid box and be able to make money out of it, while also solving available challenges, presentable challenges that are there. So right now, we haven't yet reached to a point where we prove, let's say, profitable scheme. But we are, let's say, I would say we are in Rwanda, we are at 80% at making sure that these boxes are profitable. And if you make sure that these are profitable, you would say that the project or the box itself is bankable, this renewable bankable, as this person mentioned. So, for example, I would say for a box in Mwogo that we installed a few years ago, right now, the target was to make sure that it provides $400 every month. And we are currently at 390,000 every month of income coming in every month. So I think I would say here we are at 95% of this project, of these off-grid boxes being bankable. So yeah, it does play a lot, as this question mentioned.
And we're also we're a social enterprise, or that's how we identify, right? So when we started, that's how we got the funding. We basically said, okay, well, we can share revenues if you want to be an original sponsor of a box. And then also we got a loan, but the loan's from a foundation. So they consider the impact as part of their return. So instead of just saying, oh, I want 5% interest like a bank, on a credit card or something, they're like, oh, we'll consider the financial return. If we get our money back, awesome. But we're also considering the return of the impact that we're making. So whether it's economic development or clean water or women empowerment, like all those things that they care about as well. So I think it's important, if you're going into this space, that you understand what these banks care about, because a lot of the banks won't be traditional finance banks. They could be foundations that will not only give you not only give you funding, but care about the impact that you're trying to make. So if they're strategically aligned, they might give you way better terms than a bank ever would, because they care about things that you care about.
Thank you. Marie, I know you have to leave quite soon. I have a question for you. How do you think your methods of waste management and recycling can be applied to a larger scale, like nationwide, with public involvement? Thanks for Christian for answering the previous question.
Thank you. So actually we are working on it, because we are working with different urban community like refugees and other area to implement our model nationally. And actually we are working on it. So if you want to, and we are open to work with other community. So we actually, it's also an occasion to say that if you want to work with eco builders, we are totally open to work with communities and implement our model with other communities. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us today. For our remaining panelists, all of you raised a point where you had to convince your stakeholders of the impact that your enterprise has. How did you go about it? I know we don't have much time, but what advice would you give to our participants in really convincing stakeholders and demonstrating the impact of their own enterprises? And let's begin with Eyram.
I didn't get your question.
No worries. So, for example, you said that some people just really didn't get what you were about when you came out. There weren't any other competitors. So, how did you manage to? What information did you use, or what technique did you use to really show the stakeholders this is what my organization does, this is the impact that we could do, that we can have?
Yeah, so for us it was iteration and feedback, because once you go out to communicate what you're doing and they don't understand, you definitely get feedback on what exactly it's not. So that happened over a period of time. We kept iterating until we fully understood how to best communicate. And then also being in different programs helped us to build up our skills in being able to convince the various stakeholders on how exactly to communicate the various aspects of our business and values to them. Yeah.
Thank you. And the same to Troy and Christian.
I will let maybe Troy get this one.
Sure. I mean, like, how do you gain the associated buy-in from these, like the leaders in the industry or investors, or who are we?
Yeah, let's say investors. Let's take a different approach.
Okay, so with investors, for example, I think it was hard story to tell because for them, it's like they see it as a profit-making machine. And so we first went at this like, oh, we're going to talk to all these venture capitalists, these big VC firms, like, you know, not like SoftBank, but like big firms that care about profits. But then we realized they mainly invest in software, and all they care about is like, you know, month over month, how are we increasing our revenue, or how are we increasing our users? Like, these are people that invested in Facebook and Snapchat and all this, like, but we did find within that group these angel investors, these individual wealthy people that cared about making a difference just as much as they cared about making money. And so we're like, okay, what do we call these people? And so we just call them angels, and, you know, angel investors. And basically we got like 18 of them, but with every single one of them, even though they're very wildly different people and they had wildly different careers, they cared about making a difference. And they understood that for something to be scalable, for something to be truly impactful, it needs to be financially sustainable. And so when they saw that we were building a product that had that in mind, because in the beginning we just had technology, and the technology was compelling because it had some capabilities, but it wasn't investable until we said, oh, we have this business model around it that we've proven in Muwogo, like the first community that he was talking about. And that's when they decided to put money behind it. And I think that's the key takeaway, is like, you have to find people that are aligned with your story, because you're going to have to deal with them for many years to come, because they're investing in your company. That a lot of them say it's like dating, right? Like, you need to shop around. Even though you might be really hungry for money, you actually have to be selective with the kind of investors that you get on board with, because they will influence the direction of your company, whether you intend them to or not.
Thank you. And my final question for both organizations, we have Lindsay's question here. Do either of you plan to expand to other African countries? I know that Off-Grid Box is working in other countries out of Africa, but it'll be interesting to know, are you working in other countries in Africa? And the same question to Eyram as well.
Maybe I think we have those plans. There are those plans. Maybe Troy would say more about it. But I know, let's say, a plan to go to, for example, to Congo. We have not yet been in Congo before. I'm talking about Democratic Republic of Congo. where we have been in discussion with Google to install a box in Congo. And but before, I think we have not been in Uganda. There is this project that is coming up that is supposed to bring us to Uganda. And I think there are more projects in the pipeline. Nigeria that is supposed to be, expanding our wings to other African countries. Troy.
Yeah, we definitely see the paths that we could go down for other countries, but I think it's really important for us to focus. And so I think as we scale up in East Africa, then we'll evaluate new locations. But like, how do you expand is really the question. So we're thinking about a model maybe through distributors or through implementing partners. So basically companies that already have infrastructure on the ground, or nonprofits or women co-ops or whatever that local partner might look like, but that already have a presence in Ghana or already have a presence in South Africa, that we can kind of teach them about our technology and teach them about our business model so that they can help us scale up. Because if we try to start an organization in every single country we go to, it's kind of it'll grow, but it will be slower.
Great.
Yeah.
How about you, Eyram?
Yeah, so same. We had actually, because we have a Kenyan co-founder, so he actually spent some time there, and we're able to do some validation there to know that that was one of the countries that we were going to go to. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we're not able to scale into Kenya, but definitely I foresee in the next year or two, we're starting definitely in Kenya. I've also been to Nigeria once to do some research there. That also looks like a very big market. So definitely after Kenya, we're going to Nigeria.
Wonderful, thank you. We have finished on time. I'm so proud of us. I would like to thank all of our panelists for joining us today and really sharing their expertise with all of us, and all of these recordings will be available online. I also would like to thank everyone that has attended today. Thank you so much for your wonderful questions. We will continue to connect. We will be collaborating with the Africa Centre later this summer to do a hackathon focusing on sustainability in Africa. You will be hearing from us soon. So also thank you very much to the Africa Centre. I wish everyone a wonderful evening, and again, thank you for coming.